Warning. The following may contain concepts, ideas, and/or reflections unique in nature and not yet approved by government and/or corporate entities. This content is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to stimulate further reflection or to perpetuate additional discourse beyond the scope already outlined by institutional curriculum. Over the past few years, it seems that we have been bombarded with stories of advancements in AI. However, calling it artificial intelligence is a deception. You see, the technology is impressive, but it will never be sentient. We have only anthropomorphized our computers, and I believe it is not by accident. Hello?
Have I reached the telephone number for the channel 202 care?
Yeah. Hey, you sound familiar.
It has come to my knowledge that you...
Queen Elizabeth? Hey, I thought you were dead.
Do not interrupt me again. And I prefer your highness.
Oh, sorry, your highness. But are you still alive?
Oh, silly boy. Rich people don't die.
Oh.
At least not since 1806. We simply move to an island in the South Pacific when we become too old, lest we draw undesirable attention from the poor.
Okay. Hey, so why are you calling me?
It has come to our attention that you have amassed a significant online following.
What, you mean my 7 subscribers?
With great influence comes great responsibility. To be frank, we have found some of your content to be quite disconcerting. For example, Rockefeller found your picture of him in your last video to be in quite bad taste. I stole billions. Here's a dime. He was so distraught, he wouldn't touch his youth serum all week.
Oh. Well, to be fair, I didn't know he was still alive.
Well, if you would be so kind, simply stop discussing controversial subjects. What is your next video about?
Well, I'm just recording it now. It's about AI being a fraud and a tool used to rob people of their intellectual property.
Oh, he knows. And how did you come to this conclusion?
Well, because it's similar to the way that once corporations were seen as a legal entity, then the rich could simply invest into the corporation and funnel all of their crimes through it. If by the off chance the authorities caught wind, then the investors could scatter and leave the corporation and maybe the board of directors to take the fall. Likewise, if AI was seen as having sentience, then big tech may rob the people of their intellectual property. And if pressured, they will simply say that the computer software was acting on its own, and it was simply learning as any human would. This is, of course, a lie, and the precise reason why people now believe that computers are, or could be soon, self-motivated. How much better to make the wealthy's fall guy an inanimate chunk of silicon and copper?
Well, that really doesn't make much sense. As your queen, I am commanding you to abandon this idea.
Sorry, but I'm already recording it.
What?
Yeah.
I can't be in your video. I want you to delete this immediately.
Sorry, no can do.
Listen, you son of a bitch. I'm going to tear off your rip off your head and shove it down your throat.
Jeez. Don't worry, I'll just block that number later. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah. So let's take a look at computer software before the age of the internet. At this time, every action that a program took was handcrafted. If a programmer didn't anticipate a certain input from the user, then either nothing would happen or an error would occur. As software teams grew in size, so did the complexity of the software. And something meticulously crafted could already give the user the impression that the computer was actually intuitive. However, the machine wasn't intelligent. It was just a conveyance for the intelligent design of the programmers. Just like how paper is not intelligent, but an author could be. And most people would recognize that when they enjoy a good book, it is not the pulp that is brilliant, but the writer. Sadly, this realistic assessment was lost on computers. Perhaps it's because of the sheer complexity of the technology. They are mechanically ingenious in their CPU and GPU circuitry, and they have the cumulative programming from well over 50 years, from tens of thousands of different minds. Sort of how an average peasant in the Middle Ages would have been in awe of a medieval cathedral that took 500 years to construct. The hands of so many expert workers over so many years, it could not help but have a biblical effect. Impressive? For sure. But it's still just a bunch of stones expertly assembled. Just like the expertly crafted lines of code are still only a series of intentionally manipulated electrical signals. Also remember that computer science is not a public service. Innovations in this field comes almost exclusively from private corporations. And under the guise of healthy competition, nearly every tech company has their research and development teams bound under strict non-disclosure contracts. As such, most experts in this field will not be able to freely speak on the subject, and non-experts' opinions will be largely discounted as being misinformed. This, of course, adds to the mystique of how modern hardware and software actually functions. Still, before the internet, AI was a concept reserved solely for science fiction. This has been radically changed since widespread internet usage has been adopted. If you look into every modern AI innovation, you will find that all of them are connected to the internet. This is typically referred to as machine learning. There is a form of offline AI, but it is definitely not the kind that is touted as being destined for eventual sentience. This is simply a randomization algorithm that sets a goal for the software, which allows it to solve the problem on its own. Problem solving. That sounds pretty intelligent to me. Except that in its application, it's more like throwing crap against the wall and seeing what sticks. Even for a simple task, the software needs thousands, if not millions, of iterations to solve it. For context, this form of AI will never replace the pre-programmed chess-playing software or the missile guidance software in nuclear warheads. Instead, the AI believers hope that this form of AI will be able to solve problems that we don't have the answers for yet. The problem is, without proper guidance, offline AI is painfully slow and inefficient. This is where you come in. I am sure that you've all come across this image, and maybe a text that says, "I am not a robot." These are called CAPTCHAs, and their stated function is to ensure that an automated program is not being used to spam a service. For example, by scalpers buying all the tickets to a concert to sell them back to the fans at a premium price. However, there is another less discussed function of these programs. This is a small part of machine learning. Every time a person is clicking on the correct image or entering the correct text, it is helping the algorithm to identify images better. There are possibly millions or billions of these CAPTCHA responses stored, and they are an important component for the AI programs to identify messy text or real-life images. For example, Google purchased reCAPTCHA in September of 2009, and according to Wikipedia, the program issues 100 million CAPTCHAs per day. Now this is just speculation, but did you ever notice how many CAPTCHAs will show you a bunch of pictures from a traffic scene? And then it will ask you to click on all of the taxis in the above photos, or on all of the stop signs, or on all of the tractors, or on all of the green lights. Funny, because Google has also made considerable advancements in AI driving programs. And a major component of this is consistently identifying all of the objects on the road. If AI driving becomes a major factor in the future, I wonder if we can all expect to find royalty checks in the mail for all of those unwitting participants. Just in case you're on the fence about the true function of Google's reCAPTCHA, let's go back to Wikipedia. The original iteration of the service was a mass collaboration platform designed for the digitalization of books, particularly those that were too illegible to be scanned by computers. The verification prompts utilize pairs of words from scanned pages, with one known word used as a control for the verification, and the second used to crowdsource the reading of an uncertain word. This Crowdsourced AI machine learning is everywhere. A simple service in exchange for a quick question. How about Apple Maps? This one is much more passive, but you will notice in your map settings that there is an option for deactivating your GPS data sent to Apple. Obviously, this is not a question of whether your GPS is turned on or not, because it would make for a pretty crappy map if you had no GPS. No, rather this is so that Apple may track you, even if you're not using their maps. This is how Apple may fairly accurately assess a time of arrival to your destination, because they are tracking all of the iPhones taking that same route, and then relaying that information back to you. This is not a big deal, but it is important to note that you are the brain behind Apple's AI. And without constant user input, it would likely be a mediocre service at best. How about the current trend of AI art generation? Hey, David? So first off, we have the computer software absorbing millions of pieces of art online. This is the creation of thinking, breathing humans. But the company would infer that AI is simply transforming the art into something unique by mashing different styles and concepts together with text prompts from the user. However, if you saw the creations in the early stages of AI art generation, you would likely not be impressed. But today it is really incredible what sort of images may be created. So what changed? Well, those users who were creating images were constantly giving the programs feedback. Images that they liked would get saved or rendered, and the ones that they disliked would get deleted. This process of elimination helps the AI greatly, and before long it begins to have a formula for what humans like. And the AI will be programmed to continue to produce more content that has more engagement from the user. The more user input and the more images generated, the faster the AI improves. The proof of how the AI art generator works is in the final product. In my experience, the more generic the input, the better the result. However, the rarer the request, the worse the final product is. This is actually true for all AI. At its best, AI may only replicate a decent average. And the reason is that it's improved from the input of millions of average people. So I don't believe that AI will ever create true original art, but it still could replace many workers in the graphic arts industry, where volume is more important than originality. However, rendering art is nothing new. So let's fire up my AI art generator. I think it's called Google. Okay, now follow along. I then type in my prompt, let's say, a painting of a boy standing on a pier. Then I have to click on Images, and then click Render, or in this case, Search. And look at all of these excellent pieces of art. Wow, incredible! So what's missing? Oh right, this is the art made by people who may want compensation to commercially use their art. However, if I'm able to quickly merge two photos, then it would be an original, right? So I will take this painting from a Tom Blood on Pinterest. And then this one by Honey Arabi, again on Pinterest. 2 minutes later, in Paint, I come up with this. I already feel a little bit dirty. If I tried to sell this, that would make me a thief, wouldn't it? So then why is it okay for AI to do it? Or more accurately, the company that owns this software? Let's be clear, the program isn't even that impressive, but it does perfectly illustrate what the tech giants have been doing for years, robbing us of our intellectual property, repackaging it in their software, and selling the result back to us at a premium. This theft is not limited to AI art generators, but it is rather just the tip of the iceberg. Almost every bit of cumulative knowledge is stored on the internet, and the AI creators already admit that this knowledge is being mined by their software. The lie is that AI is so advanced that it is necessary for it to progress. But AI is a scam. There is no intelligence. There will be no monumental increases in its capabilities. It will solve no unsolvable equations. It will only serve as a means to monopolize our ideas, inventions, and content for the direct monetary benefit of its corporate owners. The bright side is that there will never be an AI overthrow of humanity. although a corporate takeover using AI as a ploy is still a very real possibility. Anthropomorphizing objects is a common human trait. We view our pets as having human characteristics. We see faces in the clouds, demons in the shadows. Our children play with dolls and action figures as though they were alive. Even an adult may wince at tearing off the head of a lifelike figurine. But viewing computers as having sentience is by far the most troublesome, as we will forget about the greedy humans pulling the strings of the algorithm for our own amusement, while behind the scenes they are robbing us blind. Don't be stupid. AI is a lie.